Chapter 51, the most dangerous judo match ever fought. Father Judo and I were in the lead vehicle. He instructed us that he knew where the worst potholes were and was familiar with the crowded territory around the capital of Zambia. On to Lusaka, he pointed. Follow me. The others followed in a caravan. I soon saw what looked like a scene from the Discovery Channel. Africans everywhere, sitting and lying casually on top of moving vehicles, strolling back and forth on both sides of the road, pushing carts, and carrying everything and anything you can imagine on top of their heads. He pulled over to a newsboy on the side of the road to joyful, happy cries of, "Father Judo! Father Judo!" He took out a wad of bills larger than mine and asked for a paper, stating that he knew he had a story in it about the arrival of the Namibians. I looked surprised as he gave the entire wad of bills to the newsboy. "What's that all about?" He whispered conspiratorially out of the side of his mouth, "I better buy it now. It will be more expensive by this afternoon." Inflation was a killer. I asked why. "Inflation," he quipped, with a grin, finger to his lips, as if to hide from Big Brother. Judo is a 100-plus-year-old Japanese sport developed in 1882, admitted to the Olympic Games in 1905. It was created and developed by Dr. Jigoro Kano, so that he and his prized physical education university students could practice an ancient form of personal combat known as jiu-jitsu. Judo is the greatest self-defense system ever developed by the human race, anywhere. What makes it unique is the protective breakfall. Dr. Kano developed it to protect the one being thrown from injury. Therefore, throwing can be practiced intensely in daily training. Learning judo is all about patience and balance and timing. No more and no less. And when being thrown, to fall correctly, which avoids injury. Mats are critical. The entire international culture of sport judo is practiced in the spoken Japanese language. Therefore, serious Japanese ritual is involved, respected and expected by all countries everywhere. We arrived at the dojo about 9 a.m. in our fresh judo gis, and we were treated as celebrities among rounds of applause from the Zambians all along the streets as we passed. Our team was awed and very impressed with the attention. When the formal lineup began inside the dojo, they were wide-eyed with pride. Father Jude had convinced Japanese Judo to send its best teacher, a 6th degree from the famous Kodokan Judo School in Tokyo, all the way to Zambia to train the police and coach the national team. He was about 35 years old, tall, wide, very polite, and very pleasant, wearing his red and white ceremonial belt. Father Judo was 4th degree. I felt like an imposter with my politically correct, constitutionally awarded 7th degree, and was very shy to show leadership. The formal lineup was my very first. I'm a tournament fighter, not a ritualistic performer. It was personally embarrassing to me to be kneeling at the top place of honor with these two great international judo players kneeling formally on either side of me. Both national flags were raised to national themes of music, and my team of different cultures and languages were very teary-eyed at the sounds of our Namibian national anthem as it played over the loudspeaker when the Namibian flag was hoisted over our heads on the mats. My heart was beating like a tom-tom. I thought everyone in the dojo could hear it. We would repeat this formal ritual again right before the actual tournament fights begin. But this was a ritualistic tribute from the Zambians to my team for traveling so far. It was a great motivator for all. Now the work began. Typically, we would practice together 4 hours each day for a few days and learn techniques from each other. The Japanese coach was confidently wandering around the mats, teaching and instructing everyone. I was very shy to interrupt him, and I lacked the personal confidence about teaching my American Bushido fighting style in front of him. He was comfortably showing Namibians some arm locks and choking techniques that I recognized as standard Kodokan Judo. His defenses were as well. In response, I let it be known I was also available to the Zambian team for randori. That's practice fighting. By strolling into the center of the mat, lifting my open arms, gesturing to no one in general, and a large Zambian heavyweight approached me aggressively and bowed. I bowed, gently pulled on his left collar with my right hand, and reached slowly for his right sleeve with my left hand. It is not acceptable anywhere to attack a sensei, so I was very relaxed. At that very instant, like a lightning strike, he spun into what a layman would call a shoulder throw. You've seen it many, many times in martial arts movies. One man swings a punch and the other ducks under it with his shoulder into the armpit of the aggressor. Then, while turning his back quickly, lifts the aggressor up over the shoulder, high into the air, and slams him on his back into the mat right at his feet. Get the picture? As my surprised 62-year-old feet left the mat, and my surprised, wrinkled old face was lifted way up into the air going over his shoulder, I instinctively placed my free hand on his butt, shot my leg straight back instantly at a right angle with the mat, even with the floor, shoulder high. His attempt stopped dead in its tracks, and he toppled backward like a fallen tree, his feet flying up in front of him, and the total force of the fall was on his two shoulders and neck. We both slammed into the mat at exactly the same instant. He on his back, me on my stomach, my right hand still clutching his collar in a vicious chokehold from behind. He was pinned tightly on his back. We landed with such force it knocked him out cold. Father Judo blew the whistle, and everyone stared. I thought, uh-oh, I blew it. And the Japanese, Father Judo and the Japanese coach conferred, heads bobbing toward me, and the unconscious Zambian was their intimate conversation. Then he whistled again, and they assembled the entire Zambian and Namibian teams around the two of us lying there. They all started applauding, and the Japanese sensei insisted immediately, "Sensei, please teach me this defense," in English. And then with a heavy Japanese accent, scratching his head, "How you do that, old man?" Everyone was grinning widely. No one on my team had ever seen me do anything like it before. Of course, they had never seen me attack before, and I only ever used it in a tournament or serious self-defense situation where I am under attack by surprise. It was pure, old-fashioned United States Marine Corps, touch me and I'll kick your living ass technique. It was not in any judo or self-defense book, nor had I ever seen anyone else try it. I invented it when I was a young Marine, training it with my team at Parris Island, South Carolina, under my sensei, Jeff Nadeau. I learned to kick my legs out from my experience in gymnastics and diving. I was a middleweight in competition, and in a habit of training with any heavyweights I could get my hands on. It worked beautifully on big guys because of their naturally slow, telegraphed spinning movements. The timing, of course, had to be perfect. I nodded to the sensei from Japan and told him that I had much more like it, and was asked to demonstrate all my secret defenses to the sensei from Japan. We became senpai and student in an instant of recognition. It was a glorious 3 days of American Bushido. The Zambians never attacked me again, and they especially loved my sneaky double foot sweeps. As a special note, Father Judo took me aside after the formal introduction the first day and quietly announced half his Zambian team were infected with full-blown infectious AIDS. I had a team meeting immediately afterwards and told them the danger of getting blood on them in a fight, and I had no intention of putting them at risk. The Afrikaners were highly enraged. "Och, man! We came all the way to fight, Sensei! Fuck AIDS!" We kept a squirt bottle of bleach handy on the side of the mat to squirt immediately on any blood event when it appeared, in practice or in a contest. But that is not by any means foolproof. AIDS can live up to 20 seconds outside the human body and can get in the tiniest cut or scratch. From that moment, I was totally convinced Afrikaners are the toughest, most fierce fighters I ever met. They had hearts like lions, and anyway, they won my heart that day, and the argument as well in Zambia. Every team member agreed with him, and we went on with the contest with extreme cautions. The referees were diligent, and that is how Namibia got through the most dangerous international judo match in judo history. And oh yeah, we won 4 individual matches, but it was Zambia in the end with the total team points. Headline back home in the Namibian, Zam beats Nam. I would have settled for Namibia loves neighbor, because love your neighbor was currently put to reality test in Zambia. We loved them and they loved us, and they won. Hoorah!